so my mom doesn't like me telling this story, but I'm gonna tell it anyways because it's a little traumatic, but I mean, it is what it is. So this was the last time I ever got whooped. Okay, so at the time my mom was dating this guy, right? He was a little bum, but anyways, I digress. And he had a daughter. I hated her. That's the gist of the story. So she would come over to our house all the time, eating up all our food, being rude, being foul, being goofy. So I remember my mom had bought some cookies from the dollar store, and the little girl was like, "Can I have some?" And I was like, "No." And then she's like, "Ah!" So she went and told my mom, and my mom was like, "Give me some cookies!" And I was like, "Okay, fine." Gave her cookies. I keep giving her cookies. I keep giving her cookies. It's one of those generic packs of like the sandwich cookies, and there's like a million of them in there. She ate every single one of them except for like 5. So obviously I got upset, I got mad, and I was like getting mad at her. And she was like, "You're being mean to me." And I was like, "I'm gonna tell your dad." So beat me to it. She was like, "I'm gonna go." So she was like, and she with her little gremlin self ran into like my mom's room and was like, "She's not letting me eat cookies even though I ate them all." And my mom, I don't know why. I think something happened with her and like the girl's dad or something, because she just was like, she came into the room talking about who in here not letting her eat cookies. I was like, me. And I remember I had talked back, and my mom was like, "Who you think you?" And I was like, "Oh, my bad, I'll get beat." So yeah, she just kept watching me. And then I remember after that, I was like, "I'm gonna run away." So I ran away for a little bit. It wasn't even like running away. I packed a backpack and I went outside and walked around my neighborhood. That's all I did. And then I came back home. But as I was coming back home, my mom, the little girl, my brother was like, "Where are you?" And she told me he was running away. I looked at her and I almost lit her on fire. Part 3 to that motherfucking gremlin. Okay, so after I got done, you know, running away or whatever, I literally come back home, and at this point in time, it's like nighttime now, everything's settled down. She comes up to me, I'm laying down on the ground just watching TV. She comes up on top of me, over me, and was like, "Ha ha, you got beat. You got And I was like, and then she thought she had a point. She said something I cannot remember, and she was like, as she was leaving, and after she was like about to sleep, or as she was turning around walking away, I don't know what possessed me to like grab her by her fucking legs and pull. So she was like, "Ah, you got the," and she just fell on her fucking face. And then I got up, and I got over on top of her, and I was like, "Can you shut the fuck up? I hate you." And then she cried herself to sleep. We still cool now. We cool now. I died for the first time on the 18th of August in 2006. It wasn't a particularly painful death, nor was it one that I had expected, but just a sheer act of random violence that destroyed my life. And it came out of fucking nowhere. One day I was just relaxing with my friends at the bar, and it was my turn to get the next round of drinks. So I'm trying to wave over the bartender, and I feel somebody hit me. And at first I just thought they had just, you know, bumped into me. But then I started feeling the warm rush of blood coming from my shirt. And at that point I had realized that I had been stabbed. Now, I was more worried about protecting my expensive shirt than actually dying. And the next thing you know, like, my legs fell under me, and my legs collapsed, and I just fell on the ground. Oncoming death is funny that way. You would think you're the exception, and wherever the universe throws at you, you can handle, right? And as I was laying there, my body draining of life, that's what I thought. Until things faded to black, and then I was dead. I was thrusted into a void. It was just dark and had bits and pieces of shapes and colors and things like that. Until I gained like consciousness of like my surroundings. I was thrusted into a new world. One where there was no pain, death, disease. They were just people. Whether they were spirits like myself who had died, or unborn ones, it was just people. Strange. Being in this new world made me feel fearless. I didn't feel fear. And off into the distance, there was a light, an endless array. And even though I didn't manage to get there, I knew that that was my purpose, was to get there. And then I woke up in my bed, sweating, feeling like a maniac, and instinctually I grab at my side where the wound was, only to feel that there was nothing there. I then checked my phone to see a bunch of missed calls and texts with my friends asking me if I wanted to come to the bar. I'm sitting here thinking, was this a dream? Did I just imagine a near-death experience and just for fun, kicks and giggles, my brain was thinking that? I was pretty shaken up by the dream that I thought I had.
Story time about how I caught my husband with his mistress. My husband and I, or should I say my has-been of a husband, have been married for 9 years. Disclaimer, this is not my story time, it was sent to me. My husband and I also have 2 kids. When we met, I was totally out of his league and he knew it. We met through friends and he made sure to tell all of my friends how much he wanted to be with me. At the time, I was modeling to pay my way through school, so I had no time for a boyfriend. But he got pretty insistent. We went out on a few dates and he treated me really well, better than all the guys I had met at that time. He was a gentleman, always picked up the tab and treated me with respect. So when he asked me to be his girlfriend, I said yes. 2 years later, he asked me to be his wife and I said yes. We were truly in love and best of all, we were best friends. I could talk to him about anything because he wasn't the jealous type. 4 months ago, he asked me for an open relationship. Of course I said no, and this made him really angry. I got really suspicious and started checking his phone when he'd fall asleep. And that's when I found pictures of him with a girl at a hotel doing naughty things to each other. Part 2 is up. Once he fell asleep, I checked his phone, and that's when I found pictures of him with another girl at a hotel doing naughty things to each other. Disclaimer, this is not my story time, it was sent to me on Instagram. I decided not to confront him. Instead, I started gathering evidence. I started following him around everywhere after I dropped the kids off at school. Mind you, I quit my job because he wanted me to stay at home with the kids. On the first day I started following him, he went to a hotel. Since I didn't want him to see me, I stayed in my car. 40 minutes, he exits the hotel with a woman. By the way, these were not cheap hotels. A few days later, I followed him to a strip club. I checked his bank account and he had withdrawn $2,000 that same day. That's when I really got upset. A few days later, I followed him to an apartment complex. That's when I see a woman opening the door, and it was the same woman from the hotel. My stomach dropped. After about a week, I mustered up the courage to go talk to her. When she opened the door, she recognized me instantly. She tried to close the door in my face, but I pushed my way in. Then the coward ran to her room and locked herself in there. Part 3. My husband's mistress runs to her room and locks the door when she sees me. What a coward. I ran right after her and I told her that I wasn't going to hurt her and that I just wanted to talk. Of course, she asked me to leave, but I told her I wasn't going to move an inch until we talked. She comes out and we proceed to talk for 3 hours. She explained to me that she's an escort and that my husband pays for her apartment. She also told me that she wasn't in love with him and that she really only needed the money. This made me very happy. She also told me that aside from paying for her apartment, he gave her an allowance of $3,000 a month. Oh yeah, and that she knew about me and the kids. That's when I lost it. I took my pepper spray out of my purse and sprayed her. Fortunately, it didn't directly hit her in the face, but it still got her. I went straight to a lawyer and presented all the evidence. When I got home, my husband asked me how I found out. I showed him all the evidence and he was stunned. He's begging me not to divorce him because he knows it's going to be really expensive. I kicked him out and he went to his mom's house. His mom was angry and she didn't let him stay there. How much did I ask for?
I'm the eldest of 3 sisters, 23, 19, and 17. My youngest sister's boyfriend has made these really weird eyes at me before and has said flirty things, which I've always ignored and told her about. She would just go, LOL, that's just how he is. He doesn't mean anything by it. That's trifling as hell because you are my baby sister's boyfriend and it's gross AF for so many other reasons. Last night, my middle sister came to my apartment just to hang out. One minute we were watching Netflix and drinking wine, and the next minute she's breaking down crying, confessing that over her winter break, she slept with our younger sister's boyfriend. I was so shocked, the ability of speech failed me in that moment. I just sat there flabbergasted as she gave me the entire 4-week account of this fling that she had with him. She had just gotten out of a longish-term relationship herself and was heartbroken. According to her, he was around and down for whatever. When she was done, I asked her why she was telling me this, and she said that she hoped I'd be able to tell her what to do. I told her this is going to crush our sister because she has always talked about being the ugly little sister and being stuck in our shadows, which couldn't be farther from the truth. She really placed a lot of her self-worth and value in this relationship and she will be devastated. I think she deserves to know, so I told her that you need to tell her ASAP or I will. She said that it wasn't my place, and I told her, you included me in this. I was perfectly content to watch Grey's Anatomy and cry my eyes out, and then you turned my apartment into a confessional. After I took her home, I wondered if there was a better way to approach this that wasn't so confrontational. I'm open to suggestions, particularly those that will not destroy my sister's relationship, because I take absolutely no joy in being the bearer of shitty news.